I'm Adam. And I'm Pim.
And this is Where There's a Williams, There's a Way.
Hey Pim, have you ever done something to try and improve yourself? You mean like a New Year's resolution or a diet? Sure, either of those. I once tried to teach myself how to solve a Rubik's Cube. As it turns out, there isn't a magic trick but a bunch of algorithms. My son actually did that last year. He spends at least an hour a day learning new algorithms. What's your fastest time to solve one? Oh, I never did it. I gave up after 2 weeks. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to bring up a touchy subject. In today's book, Santa Claus decides to improve himself in a whole bunch of different ways. Let's get started.
A New Improved Santa by Patricia Rae Wolff, illustrated by Lynn Kravitz. One Christmas morning at the North Pole, Santa Claus looked in the mirror and said, "The chimney seems smaller this year. I must be getting fatter. My clothes are old-fashioned and my ho-ho-ho is so boring. My New Year's resolution is to become a new, improved Santa." Mrs. Claus shook her head and settled into her rocker and read. "Yes, dear," she murmured. In January, Santa Claus went on a diet. He ate salads, he ate bran, he snacked on carrot sticks and rice cakes and tofu. "Look at me now, a new, improved, slimmer Santa," he said. "Almost skinny," Mrs. Claus said with a twinkle in her eye. She edged toward the kitchen to throw away her stash of leftover Christmas cookies. In February, Santa Claus exercised. He jumping jacked, he jogged, he did sit-ups and stretches and toe touches. Well, knee touches. Look at me now, a new, improved, stronger Santa," he said. "Most impressive," Mrs. Claus said. She tossed his weights on top of the basket of blocks she was carrying. "I'll put these away for you in the workshop."
Adam, have you ever gone on a diet or an exercise kick? One year I decided that I was going to work out all year long, so to motivate myself, I enrolled in and paid for a quarterly event. What type of events? I started off with a 10K. Nice. Then a half marathon trail run. Wow. I hated it. I won't do one of those again. I spent the entire time looking at my feet, worried about tripping over rocky terrain. That doesn't sound like fun. Then I did a triathlon. Holy jeez. That was tough. Then I did an obstacle course run. Like a mud run? You got it. I really enjoyed doing that one, but I tore my rotator cuff, so it took me out of commission for a while. It sounds like that was a super resolution. It worked. I was healthy that year, but I got hurt around the holidays, so I quit working out and started eating a lot of cookies. Kinda like Santa.
In March, Santa Claus changed his hair. He first dyed it red. He then dyed it black. He cut it, and spiked it, and sprayed it. Look at me now, a new, improved, younger-looking Santa," he said. "Trend-setting," Mrs. Claus said, trying not to giggle as she brushed wisps of multicolored hair from his shoulder. In April, Santa Claus changed his suit. He tried bell-bottoms, he tried leather, he tried western, and retro and grunge. "Behold, a new, improved, stylish Santa," he said. "Definitely dapper," Mrs. Claus said, squinting her eyes as she straightened his fish-shaped fuchsia tie. In May, June, and July, Santa Claus changed his glasses, hat, and boots. In August, Santa's "ho ho ho" turned into booming shouts of "Yo, man!" and "cool!" and "rad!" "Maybe these will help," Mrs. Claus said, chuckling as she passed out earmuffs to all the elves. In September, the children's letters started pouring in. "A new, improved Santa uses technology," Santa Claus said as he set up a computer. He copied letters, he logged lists, he typed and sorted and saved. "Please notice, I'm a new, improved Cyber Santa," he said. just before his computer crashed. "Oh dear," said Santa Claus. "Don't worry," said Mrs. Claus. She went to the closet and opened the door. "I saved all the letters the old-fashioned way, in boxes."
Have you ever tried to drastically change up your hairstyle? Not really. You've never cut a bunch, tried something different, or changed up the color? No to all of those. I barely ever get a haircut. What about you? Have you ever tried a mohawk or anything? No, I pretty much had the same hairstyle for the last 20 years. I keep it pretty short and get a haircut about once a month. Oh, that's a lot. I would get one every week if my wife would do it. Fun fact, not only does my wife cut my hair, I've never paid for a haircut in my life. How have you managed that? In college, I worked with a woman that owned a barber shop, and she cut my hair for free. Then one of my roommates would use a beard trimmer to cut it. Then my wife took over. That's really economical of you. Yeah, I'm a cheapskate. But now my wife is really good after doing it for so long.
In October, Santa Claus put the sleigh into storage. He tested a helicopter. He tested a truck. He tried a motorcycle and a snowmobile and a plane. He pulled up in front of the house and called Mrs. Claus to come look. "See my new wheels?" "Truly innovative," Mrs. Claus said. She went in the barn to reassure the reindeer by shining up the old sleigh. The day of the first November holiday parade, Santa Claus spiked his black hair, he waxed his red mustache, and braided his beard. He put on his psychedelic shirt, his skinny plaid suit, and his high-heeled cowboy boots. Then he climbed into his roaring red rocket copter and, with a wave of his sombrero, he was off. "Introducing the new me," Santa Claus called as he flew away to show off a new improved Santa to the children. But the children didn't smile or cheer. Some frowned, some pouted, and one girl burst into tears and cried out, "Where's the real Santa?" Most just stared, disappointed, dismayed, and downright unhappy. A rejected, dejected Santa returned to the North Pole. "The children didn't like the new improved me," he said. Mrs. Claus closed her book. "Then we'd better get to work," she said, handing Santa Claus an eggnog power smoothie. They re-whitened his hair, beard, and mustache. They unpacked his old clothes and boots. They hustled and bustled and scrambled and scurried to change new Santa back to old Santa by Christmas. On Christmas Eve, Santa Claus climbed into his old-fashioned sleigh, dressed his old-fashioned way. "Look at you now," Mrs. Claus said as she kissed him goodbye. "A new, improved Santa." "But I'm not new and improved," Santa said. "I'm the same old Santa." "Oh, no, you're not," Mrs. Claus said with a smile. "You're smarter."
Wow, he even got a bunch of new vehicles. What a luxury. People never really talk about it, but I bet Santa Claus is pretty rich. I read something that estimated that he was worth about $50 billion. Holy shamoles! So he can probably buy whatever type of car he wants. I just got a new car recently. It feels pretty fancy because the old one has been paid off for 10 years. My wife and I drive our cars until they don't run anymore. So you got a new one, eh? Yeah, all the new updates from the past decade really made it seem pretty cool. Yeah, it's amazing how fast things become standard features. It doesn't look like Santa's sleigh has those lights built in the side mirrors, though. I'm pretty sure that his sleigh doesn't have the mirrors. Maybe he should. Speaking of things you should do, if you like this video, you should give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'm Adam. And I'm Pim.
And this is Where There's a Williams, There's a Way. Did you know exercising improves brain performance and memory? Cardiovascular exercise helps create new brain cells. This enhances brain power and brain activity.